difficulties, but we are excited to show you around Viterbi today.
Yes.
All right. Well, we were just talking about the farmers market on campus.
Basically, we have a farmers market here on campus every Wednesday. I believe it's from like
11 to 3.
okay, it's like 10 to 2 or like 11 to 3, something like that. But they come every Wednesday. It's really cool. It's local businesses. And yeah, they have really cool stuff.
Right. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the live stream. We are having some technical difficulties, so we're going to get started in a few minutes.
I think we can get started.
Wait, no.
How do you? We have 23 people in here.
Oh, I was still waiting for everybody else.
So let's just go.
Okay. So we'll start with introductions before we start going around. But hi, my name is Vicky. I'm a sophomore studying electrical and computer engineering. And some of my current involvements for the semester are the Trojan Club tennis team. I currently have a research position for the wireless devices and systems group. And I am also a part of USC's Theta Tau, which is a premier co-ed engineering society.
Awesome. Hi everyone. My name is Celine Vasquez. I'm from Montebello, California. I'm a senior studying biomedical engineering, and some involvements I have on campus. I'm a research assistant in a nanodiagnostic laboratory, which we're going to get to see today, which is really exciting. I'm the director of DEI for USC Hellenes, which is the official service and spirit organization on campus. And I'm also on the executive board for the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering. So we are excited to show you around campus today. Are we good to go? It's the official service and spirit organization.
Okay. Yeah,
Perfect.
so we can start off with SAL, which is like the Computer Science Center. This is it, like the front of it. A lot of computer science majors spend their time here. They basically come here to get some help. There's office hours, classes, a little bit of everything. So yeah, this is where a lot of the CS kids hang out.
Yeah, and within this building, there's also Powell Hall, which has a lot of those lecture classes for computer science students. So there's people who have had classes here. There's people leaving class right now. But we're going to go take a walk down to the Sievers Center over here. Just follow me this way. Let's see. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chats for us to answer. We're happy to answer anything. Let's see. All right, so we are walking to the Sievers Science Center. So here's where we have our Baum Family Makerspace, and we also have a library upstairs. Are there any questions that we can answer right now, or should we go on in? All right, we can go inside.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the question?
What would you say is the typical day in the life of an engineering student at USC?
Sure. So I think it depends on the day, just because we have a lot of labs for classes. But my typical, I guess, Tuesday would be I wake up at 8 a.m. I have breakfast. I go to my first discussion of the day. For that, I typically have like half an hour in between my classes. So I kind of have nonstop classes until, I want to say 4. Tuesdays are my busier days. And then after that, I'll go home, probably eat a snack, do some homework. And then at 7 p.m., that's when I have my club tennis team practice, which is really nice. It's a great way to exercise. I'll come back from that after about 2 hours, do more homework, make dinner, and go to bed.
Beautiful. Yeah, I would say I'll do Wednesday since today's Wednesday. I would get up. Wednesdays I only have one class, which is super nice. As a senior, my schedule is very, very nice. So I have class from 12 to 2, and then today I just went to the farmers market, which we have weekly on Wednesdays from 11 to 3. We were talking about that earlier, but it's a really great way to get fruit or different beverages, like lemonades and things like that. And there's also like Thai food, which is my favorite. And then after that, I usually just do homework. Today I did homework on Alumni Park, which is like our main grassy area on campus, and I also took a nap. And then after that, I usually have club meetings. So today I have Hellenes from 8 to 9. But we can go on inside. Okay, let's see. All right, so we are walking towards the Baum Family Makerspace, which is our makerspace on campus. So this is where in your freshman design class, Engineering Academy, you'll come here and you'll be able to use the equipment to make a project. There's also different equipment that you can get trained on, so you can use it for any project that you have, and it is open into the nighttime, and any student is welcome in here to do any design project that they want in order to, just have fun, or also if you need it for a class, you're welcome to use the space. I don't know if you have.
And I think you were talking about the freshman academy class, but I think they also, like, while you're taking the class, they'll make sure that there's a day where you come out, familiarize yourself with the area, and then I think you also, what is it, like you get like a certificate or something saying that like you can come on your own and kind of use the space. So they'll make sure that it's accessible to everybody.
Guys, we do have our first question from the chat. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but Niall wants to know, what is the admissions process like?
The admissions process. So I think applications are open now, and then we have our scholarship deadline, which is due November 1st, and then our regular deadline is January 15th. But application process, you just submit your application through the Common app, and then if you're applying for a scholarship by the November 1st deadline, then you just wait to hear back from USC, and if not, then you'll be deferred to regular admission, which you get notified probably around like March to April. But yeah, that's what our application process is like. We also have a ton of events where you get to know more about Viterbi, and you get to meet our admissions staff if you come to them during the school year. You'll typically see us. We're Viterbi student ambassadors, so that's where we have information sessions and things like that. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add about.
Yeah, the only thing would be probably scholarships. If you do hear back ahead of time, hearing that you've been accepted, typically you'll also have an interview process. So you'll have one interview, right? Mm-hmm. So one interview, and then you'll speak to someone part of the admissions committee, and eventually they'll get back to you letting you know if you've earned a scholarship. But if you do hear back early, that means you've been accepted early as well. So.
Awesome. So we can't go inside, but this is the makerspace. I don't know if you want to pan inside. Just to see, but there's a ton of equipment, a lot of different spaces within the makerspace, and it's a really cool space. Do you want to go up to the library to see? No? The connection? Okay, well, upstairs there is a library, which is a really nice study spot. I really like it because it's like another version of our other more popular library on campus, Levy Library, but this one's less empty, and there's a lot of outlets. Let's see.
Any other questions for now? No? Okay. Okay, and then EB is there too.
Guys, where are we headed next?
Right now we're headed towards Ronald Tudor Hall, which is where all of our freshman academy classes are. Also where we have the admissions center for engineering diversity, a balcony, a restaurant, all of that. And right next to RTH is actually EEB, which is the Department for Electrical and Computer Engineering, my favorite department. But yeah, that's where we're headed to right now.
I don't know if anybody can hear, but it said we had a quick connection. It should be back now. David wants to know, are there any LLC for engineering, and what is housing like? Living learning communities.
All right, I can speak to housing. So your freshman year, you will most likely live in a dorm on campus. So we have dorms that are physically on USC's campus, like Burnkrant, we have New North, different dorms like that, but we also have freshman dorms in the Village, which is right across the street from campus, super close. That's the McCarthy Honors College, and your sophomore year, you'll most likely be living in the Village, and we have different residential colleges like Nemavrovsky and Bonnet, McMorrow, and different things like that. How was your experience living in the Village, if you lived in the Village?
So I'm actually last year I was living in Party Tower, which is a freshman dorm. This year I'm living in the Village in Carolina Rani. Both have been super cool. Party is like your traditional dorm setting, no AC, communal bathrooms, like the entire experience. So I definitely had fun, made some cool friends, definitely gave me the freshman year experience. But I can't say that I liked Party more than I like the Village now. It's very new, has really nice amenities. Kitchen, yes, kitchen.
Your own bathroom.
Exactly. So yeah.
And I'm just going to jump in here and say that we don't have any specific LLCs for engineering, but a lot of the freshman housing does. I know that in Party, there's a floor called Somerville, which is for Black students, and then there's also a few floors in other buildings for LGBTQ plus students to live in as well, but none specifically for engineering.
And then in terms of off-campus housing for the juniors and seniors, once you're an upperclassman, you're not going to really want to live on campus just because you have more freedom and flexibility off campus. So as a junior, I lived in Gateway, which is an apartment complex right across the street from campus, again, like a 5-minute walk. And then right now I'm living in a house with 6 of my friends on Menlo Avenue, which is a street that's really close to campus and tends to be a lot of seniors who end up living in those areas. So yeah, that's a little bit about housing. All right, so we are walking into RTH. Let's see. And you'll see there are students here eating, doing homework, everything that you could be doing when you get to college. Let's see.
Okay, we do have another question in the chat really quick. Sophia wants to know, when do students typically pick what type of Guys, I think we're having a few connectivity issues, but it looks like we're back, so continue talking about
Yeah.
where you were
Okay.
at.
So basically, is there an undeclared for engineering? Okay, so there's an undeclared for engineering, but if you do choose to apply as a specific engineering, once you get accepted, they make it really easy for you to switch to any major in Viterbi. I remember as soon as I was admitted, there was like an admitted students day, and right off the bat when I arrived, they asked me if I wanted to keep my major or if I wanted to switch, which kind of showed me how easy it can be to like move around if you're not sure. So yeah, it's definitely very flexible.
I also just have something to add from behind the scenes as a host. I know that when you get admitted to Viterbi, you are admitted to all engineering majors on campus. So if you ever want to switch your major, you don't have to reapply. You are automatically admitted. You just have to go through the switching process.
Yeah, and if you are not sure about what engineering you want to do, there's introductory classes like BME 101, AME 101, so you get like an intro to the major as a whole, and it'll help you kind of decide if the major is the right fit for you or not. So we're going to continue walking. So we are actually walking towards the admission center specifically for Viterbi students. And this is where our lovely admissions counselors are working every day, hard at work, reading your applications. So we can take a look. And also we just have classes. There's a class going on right there. Yeah, engineering freshman academy courses and different things like that. We can just show the hallway. So this is the admission center specifically for Viterbi. We have our lovely admission staff, Stacy, Paul, Becky, Lisa, Angie. They're all in there. They're super nice, super sweet. So if you ever come to campus and have one of our info sessions, definitely go up to them and talk to them. They love to speak to students. Let's see. And so now we are walking to the second floor of RTH, which is where a lot of different study spaces are for our students on campus. So Center for Engineering Diversity is on the second floor. We also have like a general study lounge for students, for engineering students. And there's a nice little balcony space as well.
Actually, before we go up, Kaden asked a really great question in the chat. Kaden wants to know, is it possible to minor in a different school, such as business?
Yes, thank you, Kaden, for that question. It definitely is possible to minor as an engineering student, and a lot of engineering students are interested in things outside of Viterbi, and it can be hard to double major just because of the credit requirements for engineering students, but a minor is a great way to get experience in other fields. One of my friends is a BME major, and she's minoring in business.
Yeah, a lot of people in Viterbi actually love minoring in business. I feel like that's really common. But yeah, definitely when you're planning out your schedule and like the amount of credits you have to take and everything, like there's usually room, which I feel like they do on purpose so that you can explore other classes, maybe pick up a minor. So yeah, it's very doable. A lot of people do it. So yeah, definitely possible.
And we have actually another question really quick. Are there specific halls/buildings for certain majors? For example, a separate building for both biomedical and chemical engineering, or do the buildings overlap major-wise?
So when taking classes, they can sometimes overlap just because classes will be pretty spread out throughout campus. But each department typically tends to have their own building. So for example, once we're done in this building, we'll actually head over to the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and that's kind of dedicated just to like that area specifically in Viterbi, and that's where like professors will have their offices, there will be study areas, office hours, all of that. So yeah. Okay, now we'll head upstairs.
All right, so we are on the second floor of RTH. So here to the left, we have our BOM Student Center. So you'll see students doing homework. It's a nice place just to get work done in between classes. We can go outside here. We also have a nice balcony space for our students just to study or hang out after class, in between classes. So yeah, so that's another one of our VSAs, Victoria over there. She's doing her homework. Perfect example of being of using this balcony space. But we'll go inside to look at the Center for Engineering Diversity. All right, so the BOM Student Center is over here, and over here we have our Center for Engineering Diversity. It's a nice space to get work done, nice support space for students on campus. Do you know the? Okay, we don't have to go inside, but it's just a nice space specifically for Black and Hispanic students on campus, just to get work done and just be there for each other. And that's it for a second floor. Just down here we have more classrooms. There's also some research labs, but we don't have access to those right now. So if you're interested in more of like computer-based research, those would be housed in RTH.
We do have we do have a few questions in the chat. Poof, I would say that your first question is, I was doing the application and wanted to know how is the best way to go about the question on how will I contribute to the USC Viterbi student body?
We can specifically answer how you should answer the question, but I'm really cheesy, and when people ask me how to fill out the application, just be yourself and do whatever you think is best. We just want to see your most authentic version of yourself on the application. Don't try to put something that you think that we want to see, because then that can come off as inauthentic. So just, I don't know. Good luck. You have a few months to figure out how to answer the question, but I won't necessarily guide you in a certain direction on that.
And then Poof also wants to know, do you have to live on campus as a freshman?
No, you don't have to live on campus as a freshman. I actually had a few friends who commuted the entire year and still do commute. So I think it's pretty cool that USC is kind of flexible on that. They definitely give you the option. You definitely can. It's guaranteed the first 2 years, but it's not a requirement.
And then another thing that I forgot to mention earlier, on the second floor here, we also have our K-12 STEM Center, which supports outreach for the South Los Angeles community with Viterbi specifically. We also have our Career Center that helps students with internship application processes, creating an elevator pitch, and fixing their resume, things like that, which is a really great resource for students to have on campus. Viterbi is really great about supporting students in finding internships and jobs after graduation. So we can go outside of RTH. Okay, yeah. Oh, wait, no. And our next stop on this tour is EEB, which is our building specifically for our electrical engineering majors. If anyone has any more questions, they want
We actually do have a few more questions in the chat. Niall wants to know, what are the most popular events that students go to, both ones made by / endorsed by USC and ones that are not?
Well, I think the type of events USC has very much vary. They have professional events like the career fair, which is very popular. There are always so many students at those. But then we also have the more social events like the football games, like sporting games. So I think there's definitely a lot you can do on campus. Did you, by any chance, have a specific type of event you were curious about? Maybe professional?
Yeah, just to go along with that, there's a wide variety of events on campus. I will say that the football games are super fun. One of my favorite things to do at USC in the fall semester. Yeah, and there's smaller events like the farmers market. For freshmen specifically, they have different hangout events. In TCC, which is our main student center on campus, so they have making friendship bracelets or planting succulents, things like that, just so freshmen get engaged with the community and get to know each other better. But if there's any specific type of event that you're interested in, you can put that in the chat and we can talk more on that.
But we also have the concerts.
We do. We have USC concerts, so we have a concerts committee on campus, and we have 3 concerts every year. One is our Welcome Back concert. We also have one when we play against UCLA. It's called Conquest, and then we also have Spring Fest, which is our concert for the spring semester.
And those are all really cool because you don't have to be a freshman to go. They're actually open to everybody. So most people like to go, and it's very fun.
Yeah, and they're free. Some highlights include we had Flo Milli last year, which was really, really fun. We also had Dominic Fike, different artists that come to USC and play for us for free, which is awesome. So we are in front of our electrical engineering building, so we're going to go on inside, take a look. All right.
Okay, so this is EEB. Over here we have kind of a study area. There are a few offices for some people here, but typically students really like to go in there, study. There's also AC, so it feels really nice in here. And then we have a bigger room over here, which typically is used for club meetings, info sessions, welcome events, stuff like that. So yeah, and then there are multiple floors here in EEB, so typically professors will have their offices here. It's really great for office hours. And then we also have the advisors for the electrical engineering students, which are also in this building. So it's a very nice resource for all the electrical engineering kids. However, you don't need to be an EE major to come. I know a lot of my friends like to spend time here because it's close to other classes as well. So very cool building.
We have one more question in the chat. I'm really sorry if I say your name wrong, but Zeev wants to know, are labs like the Aerodynamic Design Lab or Dryden Wind Tunnel available to undergrad students, or are they mostly reserved for grad students / researchers?
It's definitely open to undergrad students. A really cool thing about USC is that just the sheer amount of research opportunities that they have. I know that a lot of professors love it when undergrad students get involved. They love helping them build experience, mentoring them. So it's definitely something that's doable if you're interested. Yeah, there's so much you can do, and I'm sure that professor or group would be super excited to have undergrad students as well.
Yeah, just to add to that, research is totally doable to get involved with freshman year. I got involved the spring semester of my freshman year in my research laboratory on campus, which we're actually going to get to see today. So it's just USC is a research institution, so there are plenty of opportunities for undergrads to get involved in that. So now we're just going to go to eQuad just to answer some questions. Let's see. All right, so we are walking to the Epstein Family Engineering Plaza, formerly known as eQuad or Engineering Quad is what most students call it. It's just a great space for students to hang out, do homework. Whenever I'm in feel free to put any questions that you have in the engineering related. We're also involved in things outside of engineering, so free to ask anything about USC. Yes, engineers are humans too. You heard it here first.
Niall, I think, refined his question. He was asked second. Let's just give it. There we go.
Good? Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, a lot of the fun activities and things to do on campus are related to a lot of organizations on campus that host a lot of events. So like the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering, like we have game nights and different things like that. I'm also a part of Helene's, so we have a lot of different things specifically related to spirit at USC. So we go to the football games about 2 hours early, get front row, different activities like that. I don't know if you have any.
Yeah, kind of going off the student org thing, I know that they also have, they have kind of like involvement fairs. So it's ways to get involved, not always needing to be professional. There's a lot of social organizations, but we also have Rec Fest once a semester, which is for the like recreational sports. Yeah, that's actually how I found out about the club tennis team. So that's a really good way to get involved more socially as well. But then also events that they really like to focus on Welcome Week as well, so that freshmen get properly integrated, or freshmen and transfer students. So they'll have events like the concert, but they also have Light Up the Night. They have a lot of events with free food, so you can definitely, if you check your email, you can get involved, take advantage of those opportunities. So yeah.
Right.
And I also just want to add, you are going to be going to school in LA if you end up coming to USC, so that opens up such a wide variety of things and events that you can go to. Do you guys have any of your favorite spots or things that you've done off campus?
Yes, so I am from the LA area, so I do have a car on campus, which is nice to be able to get around. Yeah, so I love going to the Arts District. There's a lot of coffee shops. There's an Earth Cafe, if you know what that is. If you don't, you will when you get to LA. And a lot of different like art galleries and things like that. So I love going there with friends on the weekend. I also love going to Santa Monica, which is really nice. If you don't have a car, you can get there because USC has a metro stop right outside of campus. And if you take the metro it's about 12 stops, you get to the beach, which is really nice. And now it also goes to Little Tokyo, which is also a really fun thing to do around LA.
Also, I don't have a car here, but I'm from Irvine, so whenever I do get a car, I like to go to farmers markets or even like flea markets. I think that's really fun. I know Melrose is really popular, so that's really fun. Also, just going to any coffee shop. There's so many in LA that you could probably go to a new one every time. There's Griffith Observatory, which is a good lookout point. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things to do in LA, museums too.
And then as a freshman or a sophomore living in dorms, specifically like McCarthy and the Village dorms, the school takes you out on excursions. So last year or sophomore year when I was living in the Village, they took us to Catalina Island for free, which was awesome. I know they also take students to like Dodger Stadium to see a baseball game. And I know they took students to a Lakers game my sophomore year too, if you were living in McCarthy, Universal Studios. So there's a lot of opportunities where the school offers free trips to take students off campus, which is really nice. But this is eQuad, so you can just pan around. So this is our engineering quad. This is like the main center of the engineering school, where a lot of students tend to do work, hang out, eat lunch, and surrounding all of eQuad is a ton of different engineering buildings, which we'll get to look at later. But right now we're just going to sit down and answer questions that anyone has. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to let you know my name is Ava. I'm the host who's been following around. You've probably heard my voice in the background asking the questions. I just want to say keep it up. We've had some really great questions in the chat and now we have ample time. So if there's anything you want to know, write it in the chat.
Okay. Yes.
Our first question we have is what is the experience like to get an internship from David? Thanks for your question, David.
Awesome. Thanks, David, for the question. I would say that getting an internship, it takes work on your end, but the university also provides many resources for you to be able to navigate getting an internship. So I had an internship at Medtronic Diabetes after my sophomore year. It was a medical device company, and I was working in supplier quality engineering. And so being able to get an internship, a cool thing about USC and Viterbi is that a lot of the organizations actually host different networking events for you to get to meet recruiters specific to your discipline. So I'm a part of the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering, and we host 2 big networking events every semester in order for students to get to know different recruiters from companies like Abbott, Medtronic, Genentech, different places like that. And that's actually where I ended up getting my internship after my sophomore year, just being able to talk to a recruiter one-on-one over dinner in a small setting, and then having an interview and ultimately getting the internship. But I know that Viterbi also has Viterbi-specific career fairs where you're able to talk to recruiters and things like that.
Yeah, I'm actually currently in that process, so I'm still figuring it out. But there's definitely a ton of opportunities on campus. There are, at the Career Center, they help you workshop your resume, which is very important for internships. A lot of organizations will actually host the networking events. So for example, last year, Theta Tau that I'm a part of hosted one with Boeing. And then at the end, they allow for you to kind of interact with the recruiters. It's just a lot of applying, a lot of interacting with people on campus. There are so many people who are willing to help you. It's just about taking advantage of those resources.
Okay, our next question is from Aiden. Aiden wants to know, is it difficult to get into the engineering classes that you want?
No, not at all. Typically, your advisor will give you a schedule of what should come the following semester. And they kind of give you an outline of how your college career will go. But I've personally never had any difficulties registering for the classes I needed to take. And even once when it came close to the end and I really wanted to join a class for this semester, actually, I just emailed the professor. She was super understanding, and she opened up a few more spots so that I was able to join. And I've also never really heard anybody struggling with registering for their classes, so it's not very much of a problem, I would say, in Viterbi.
Our next question is club participation difficult to manage with a Viterbi workload?
I would say that as a freshman, you're still getting used to the transition from high school. So that in itself was a struggle for me. I'm not going to lie about that. The classwork and coursework in college is definitely more difficult, but it's also definitely manageable given the resources that Viterbi has. We have something called supplemental instruction. So if you're struggling in a class like physics or chemistry, we have students who received A's in the class that host weekly sessions every week, helping you get used to your classwork. So after that first semester of getting used to things, I started branching out and looking at clubs and organizations. And so I would say it's 100% manageable. You just have to learn how to manage your time well. I use Google Calendar. It is my lifesaver, just organizing everything, my classes, and making sure that you get your homework done on time. And I will say that it's easier to do homework, at least for me, in college, just because all of your friends are essentially in the same major as you. So if you want to hang out, then you can knock out your homework at a coffee shop and then just stay at the coffee shop for another hour and chill and hang out. So I would say it's all about balance, and I feel that clubs are a really great way to get involved in the Viterbi community and even outside of the Viterbi community, and that just enhances your college experience as a whole.
Our next question is more specifically about the BME major. Annika would like to know what exactly are you learning in your specific BME program, and she's also really interested in the molecular cellular emphasis, if you could speak to anything you know about that.
Yeah, so I actually used to be a molecular cellular emphasis. I don't have one anymore just because I decided that I didn't want to do that route and I just wanted to explore all of biomedical engineering as a whole. So I'm taking a little bit of classes from everything like mechanical, electrical, molecular, cellular. But in terms of what I'm learning in biomedical engineering, it's a very broad program, so you're going to get a lot of exposure to different things. I've taken classes on tissue engineering, which is a really fun class because not only do you have the lecture component, but you also have a hands-on lab component where you're actually culturing cells and checking in on them every week. I've also taken a micro devices class. I'm taking a signals and systems class right now, which is more on the electrical engineering side of things. So there's just, it's a wide range of different things, but if you want to hone in more specifically like molecular cellular, you'll get to take more of those like wet lab based classes. If you're interested in mechanical or engineering, you'll be taking classes in the EE department and the mechanical engineering department as you get to be an upperclassman.
We have a few more. Sophia wants to know, what are study abroad options like for engineering students?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of study abroad opportunities. I actually have some friends applying for that for this upcoming spring semester. So basically, I also know that there are a lot of study abroad fairs. I actually bumped into one my freshman year, which was really helpful. But they also have Viterbi specific study abroad Zoom sessions very early on in the years, just so that you're aware, you can ask questions and see if that's something you want to apply for. A lot of students tend to do their study abroad semester junior year, spring semester, just because by that point, I think you've taken classes to take your tech electives abroad. And you can like plan ahead of time. So it's definitely doable. A lot of Viterbi students do it. I think the best thing to do would probably meet with your advisor or a study abroad advisor. Show them your course load, show them all of your information, and then see what options are best for you. I know that also for electrical engineering, they're starting a new study abroad program that's, I think, in Greece, and I think it's like specific towards electrical engineering. And then there are like some in like Singapore and stuff like that. So there are a lot of options. It's very cool.
Yeah, just to add on to that, if you don't want to do like that whole semester abroad, we also have Maymester programs. I did one in Berlin, Germany, which was awesome. It was specifically for the Writing 340 class, which is a requirement for all students, and it was engineering specific. So we had what Maymesters typically are is you spend 4 weeks abroad, but for this class, we had class throughout the whole semester, but for the last 2 weeks of the semester, we didn't have class. And after the semester was over, we went abroad for 2 weeks to Berlin, which was awesome. It was my first time in Europe. We also have scholarships, so it was fully paid for me, and it was just a great opportunity to get to experience going outside of the country for the first time. I had never been outside of the country except for Mexico, so it was just a great opportunity. And Maymesters are a great way to have that abroad experience if you don't want to miss USC for the entire semester, which was specifically the case for me because my freshman year was all online due to COVID, so I did not want to leave campus for too long. But yeah, definitely possible to study abroad as an engineer. You can ask one then put on.
Hey, Kaylee. Hey, guys.
I also just participated in the short little RIT 340 program. My group went to Tokyo, and we actually went at the beginning of August, so not too long ago, and it was the same thing as the Berlin trip, except we did it before school started, so that's also an option if that's something anybody's interested in.
Okay, so now we are walking to Michelson, which is for Convergent Biosciences. We do have a biomedical engineering building called DRB, but Michelson I like to call our nicer version of DRB. It's built like 5 years ago. It's really new. There's a lot of lab spaces, so it's a very nice. All right, so right now we're walking to Michelson, which is the building for Convergent Biosciences. I think we have time to go inside, right? All right, so we will be going inside there. This building right here that we're walking by right now, this is SGM. This is where a lot of those organic chemistry labs are. Also, just like bigger lecture classes like organic chemistry, general chemistry. As an engineering student, you might also have classes in here. And so this is more of the outskirts of the engineering campus, but it still is the engineering campus. Down that way is where the original biomedical engineering building is. And if you could see the construction in the background, that's going to be our new computer science building.
While we're on the way to our next spot, Peter would like to know, he's majoring in computer science, but also thinking about applying to med school. So would this be a possible option for him at USC?
All right, if you didn't hear that, I love Peter. I have a friend who is majoring in electrical engineering, but she's also pre-med. So right now she's taking those pre-med classes as a senior. So she definitely has had to take sometimes more than 18 units. But if you take some classes over the summer, it's totally possible to do both as my friend is doing. So if that's something you're interested in, talk to your advisor as soon as you get into USC. So they can help you create the course plan where you can finish both. All right, so now we're walking up the ramp towards Michelson. So if you look up, it's a beautiful building. A lot of research labs are here. They're more wet lab based, but we also have some computer science research laboratories in this building as well.
Along with the research, Gwendolyn would like to know what are research opportunities like specifically for biomedical engineering students, and then are there any that would apply to a particular emphasis such as molecular cellular?
Yes, I love the question. There are a lot of research opportunities for biomedical engineering students. Again, I'm in a nanodiagnostics research laboratory here, focused on imaging, also nanoparticles, which is really fun. A lot of my friends who are in the lab are molecular cellulars. It's called the Zavaleta Laboratory if you're interested. There's also the Chung Lab, which focuses on nanoparticles and cancer drug delivery research, which is also housed here in Michelson. There's also tissue engineering with the McCain Lab, that's in DRB, so not this building, but the other biomedical engineering building on campus. So lots of opportunities. You can find some that are geared more towards your BME emphasis. But we can go on inside. Okay, never mind. We are not going inside. They're hosting an event right now, but in here you'll see a lot of labs. If you ever come to campus, you might be able to tour some.
We are now down to our last question. Sorry if we couldn't get to yours in the chat, but we did drop an email, so if you have any other questions, please feel free to use that. And lastly, we just want to ask why you guys chose USC.
I personally chose USC because, for me, it was always a bit of a dream school. I loved the environment. It was the first college I ever visited my freshman year of high school. And I remember coming here, I was very impressed with the school itself, but also the school spirit, how much the kids here seem to care about their school, which immediately drew me to USC. But once I got closer to the application process and I started looking more into Viterbi and the different majors and opportunities that Viterbi had to offer, I just thought it would be a great way to spend my next 4 years. Sorry about that. There's a lot of research opportunities, a lot of organizations, lots of clubs, lots of fun events like the football games. But there's a lot to get involved in, and just the fact that it's in LA, it's so fun.
Yeah, just to echo that, I chose USC. It was a dream school. It was my top school that I was applying to when I was going through the college application process. But ultimately, it became that top choice because when I was visiting campus, when I was visiting other schools, I just found that Viterbi and USC as a whole it struck a really good balance between work and having fun, which is something that I really value in a college experience, being able to get your degree, gain technical skills, and become well-versed in your major, but also being able to enjoy yourself as a student in your 20s and in your teens, being able to have fun, go to football games, hang out with friends. And USC just has a very relaxed environment, kind of like Los Angeles as a whole, just a very relaxed space that has a lot of opportunities for you to grow professionally and also personally, which is ultimately why I chose USC. I don't know if you want to answer the question.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hi, I'm Kaylee. I'm just going to be telling you a little bit of ending information. So first of all, just a quick reminder, early action deadline is November 1st. If you're super interested in applying to USC and attending USC, please consider applying for early action. You will also be considered for all of our merit scholarships by applying to this deadline, and you'll be notified of your acceptance status sooner. So if you want to get a scholarship and or know if you got into USC sooner, please apply by November 1st. Regarding staying connected, please stay connected with Viterbi students. We would love for you to follow us on our social media accounts. We have an Instagram, a Twitter, a TikTok, and we also have podcasts. So, as well as this amazing YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about what it's like to be an engineering student at USC or have any questions for us, please feel free to email vstudent@usc.edu. Thank you so much again for exploring Viterbi with us this afternoon. We have so much fun. You've asked great questions. Remember, if we didn't get any of those questions that you typed into the chat, feel free to email us, or if any other questions pop into your head later, also feel free to email us. Also, please visit, hold on, let me find. Please stay connected with admission. So if you're interested in like coming to USC for a visit in person, check out viterbiadmission.usc.edu/visit. It's a great time for you to meet us in person and get to explore the campus in person, like I said. So we'll drop all of these links after this. We'll drop them on our Instagram too. Thank you so much for your great questions. We had so much fun with you. And as always, fight on. Thank you guys.